In this video, it's all about how to make this, a cute little sewing organiser just for your sewing room to store things like your seam ripper, the one thing you keep losing. Okay, first of all, I want you to get some sort of a circular template. Anything is good. No, when I say anything, I'm going to be literally using this old clock face. It's the perfect circle. So this is what you're going to need. You're going to need 2 pieces of fabric for the front, 1 piece for the back, a piece of binding. So I've just got some left over here that I've made myself, and a piece of fusible fleece. So as you can see, I've grabbed my circle template, I've put it over, and I've used a fabric marker to trace all the way around the side of my template here. So for the next part, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So for the next part, I'm going to get 2 pieces of fabric. I'm going to place them right sides together. I'm going to get one of my circles and I'm going to fold it in half like so. And I'm going to place it onto my fabric piece. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this pattern, but I'm going to add a 1/4 inch seam allowance above. So if I get my ruler and I can estimate here what my 1/4 inch allowance is, and I'm going to mark it with my fabric marker. So there's my 1/4 inch, so I'm just going to mark it just above there, and I'm going to estimate all the way around a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you're going to end up with something like this. It's just going to be a 1/4 inch bigger than the original circle. I'm just currently pressing my fusible fleece to the back part of my fabric, and you'll know which is the fusible side because there's like a gluey adhesive side on one side and the other side is quite soft. So whichever you want your back to be, let's attach that together and just follow your manufacturer's instructions for how long to keep the heat on your fusible fleece. We are going to grab our 2 pocket sections and we are going to sew right down here, joining these 2 pieces together, right sides together. So just sew all the way down here. All you need to use is a regular 1914 needle size, and I always like to use my 1/4 inch foot with guide anytime I want to get a really good 1/4 inch precise stitch. So I am going to sew all the way along. So I'm just going to open this out and I'm going to press. And I'm just going to open these seams here. And I'm just going to press them open. Like so. And then all I'm going to do is fold that back over again, and I'm going to start to create my pocket. I like to use a really good contrast for my fabrics, so this is going to be the pocket that my items are going to slip into. So if you notice here, I've got a blue and an orange, which are very high contrasting. Let me show you the effects that happens when you use kind of like similar colours. It's not quite as effective. Let me know what you think. I always prefer the high contrasting fabrics. Just makes it pop. So the next stage I'm going to do here is I'm going to pin everybody into place, like so, and go all the way around pinning. Now it's up to you if you want to pin. You can use wonder clips. Just don't ride over your pins, it's not very good for your machine. I just think when you're a beginner, you should always try and pin. I know it's a pain. I didn't like doing it either. But trust me, things don't slip about this way. There we go. I think it's all pinned in place. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to take it over to the sewing machine and we're going to sew, like, we're not going to just sew a 1/4 of an inch, we're going to do a bit less of a 1/4 of an inch seam all the way around, clipping everybody into place. Okay, I just placed my regular foot on, and like I said, I'm going to do a little bit less than a 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to go all the way around this circle. So let's start and reverse, and then go forward again. Now one thing I like about my machine, it comes with a pivot key, so as soon as I stop my foot accelerator and I release it back off, it automatically comes up, so I can then pivot around my project much more easily. And always keep your needle in the down position so you have much more manoeuvrability with your project. And when it comes to this pocket part here, just watch these needles. I just like to go over a couple of times and then just continue going all the way around. And then it comes to the end, reverse, and then complete. We've nearly done, just a couple more things left to do. Okay, so I have a leftover piece of binding strip here from a different project, 2.5 inches wide by whichever length it is for the project. This is just perfect piece of scrap for me. And then what you're going to do, you're going to fold it over and press in half. Okay, I'm going to get my binding strip and I'm going to do this from the back side. So I'm going to make sure that I have a lot of excess before I start, and I'm going to put the raw edges together, and I'm going to pin in place, and then we're going to sew it all the way around like so. Just always keep your needle in that down position and just sew around, making sure that you're catching all the layers of fabric and all the binding sections. On how to join these two sections together, please watch the linked video right above. So I have my project, I have sewn all of that down, and I'm just going to sew all along the top here just to shut this binding up. Just going to reverse, and then I'm just going to sew this all the way along the top. So I just need to create a little tab for the top so I can hang it. So again, I have this leftover piece of fabric which is 2 inches by 5 inches long, and I'm just going to fold it up and I'm going to press. So it's just folded in half, and all we do is fold this bit in here, half again, turn it around and fold this bit in the halfway. We're just hiding them raw seams, that's all we're doing. So, and then you fold the whole bit in half, and you create a little tab. Now you can fold that in half like so, or you can stitch it down. I'm going to stitch it down. So I just stitched it down one side, and I'm going to stitch it down the other side. Now just find the centre of your project. You can just fold it in half, and that's going to be your centre at the top there. And just flip it round, and this is where I'm going to place my tab. So I'm just going to pin it in place so I don't lose its markings. I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to stitch across. So we're going to make sure that our needle is not in the way, and I'm going to take the same line as my binding, and I'm going to stitch along this tab. But don't forget to go reverse and then go forward, and then reverse again at the other end, just lock in the stitches and then go forward. I have my ruler and I have my seam ripper. What a fantastic little project, and you can make it as big or as little as you like. I upload videos every single Wednesday, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss seeing me next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.